Wade is guarding Bryant. Artest looking, gets it to Bryant. Bryant dribbling, has to put it up at the buzzer. Banks it in! He banks in the three! And the Lakers win the game!
Good morning, Syndicate members. What's going on?
Go.
It's Wednesday, and it's live from Austin, Texas, 9 a.m. Let's do this. What is up, Joe Camper?
Come on, baby. I heard that passion. Let's go, man. I'm freaking hyped, y'all. I'll tell you, we got a guest, too, that's going to bring the freaking energy, too. Real quick, let's knock out our weekly wins, and then we'll bring him on. Again, y'all, real quick, too, it's in the comments. I think for the most part, everybody knows this, but make sure and let StreamYard view your comments, and it's in the description of the actual video. Let us know real quick in the comments, too, where you're tuning in from. Good morning, everybody. I see you, Miss Melissa. Hello, Grace. Mr. Adams, what's going on? Mr. Christian Garner, I'm going to miss you at the end of the month, man, but I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing you at 8%. Mr. Victor Gonzalez, thank you guys so much for hopping on. Man, weekly win, Friday, baby, Friday. So we have our soft launch that is now turned into, I don't know if it's considered, is it a soft launch when over 30 people are showing up? I don't know.
It's going to be more than that. They're probably looking at 60 people.
Right. But it's, the weekly win piece of that, y'all, is because a lot of how we, a lot of what is just really taught about on this show is a lot of it's social media, a lot of it's kind of organic marketing using online and all that, right? And we're right next door to this freaking Remax office, and the guy email blasted us out to all of his realtors. Now, again, that's more on the property and casualty side of things, but just goes to show, man, grassroots marketing still freaking works, man. And
alive and well, baby.
Alive and freaking well. So that is definitely my win. I'm super excited. We're going to have some clients and referral partners that are out of that office over here. We've got it catered. We ordered 100 tacos, custom cookies. We're going to have chips, queso, salsa, all that good stuff. So real quick too, if anybody is local here, we're in Cedar Park, but if you're in the greater Austin area, come on through. We're kicking off really. Honestly, there's not a truly official start time on Friday other than I've kind of just put an event out there for like 3 o'clock, 3:30, whatever. But if you want to come in early or if you want to just stop by maybe after work, we would love to have you. So that is my weekly win. Man, we're almost freaking there. We're almost there. So it's like the office is almost.
You had me at tacos.
Come on, Victor. Where you at, man? Where you at? What's how you doing this week, Mr. Merwin?
Oh, man, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking.
How'd yesterday go? Come on, you got to let people know.
No, we had a great seminar overall. We didn't quite get the turnout that we wanted. I think the rain that we had come through Austin yesterday maybe slowed a few people down, but we had some great people show up. Pretty much got them all papered and ready for appointments and ready to go. So regardless, it'll still be profitable. And the people that didn't show up, I still got their permission to contact from their opt-in. So we're going to reach out to them. We're going to get them on the Avila train one way or another. So all in all, a great event. Grace did a phenomenal job as a presenter. We had a great turnout. You could just tell the engagement at the end of the event when people are asking questions and just how comfortable and casual they were. You could tell that she won them all over. So overall, it was outstanding. And then our partner in the restaurant, they really enjoyed it, appreciated it. We had a videographer come out. That dude won. Not only did he find us as a new client, the restaurant is hiring him as a new client. And then one of our partners that was also hanging out with us because she's wanting to learn the insurance industry. It's actually a new agent that we're picking up. She owns a dog grooming business called Luxury Paws, has like 3 vans that run around. And she's finally gotten to the point where she's got that pretty much operable on its own. So she become working with insurance. So she's hiring the dude. So that dude cleaned house. Everybody had a win.
It's like, hey man, we're having a soft launch on Friday.
Come on by.
you want to come through for some tacos, maybe some headshots, my man?
Maybe
That's
so.
awesome, dude. That's awesome. Well, shout out to Grace too. I know that she has put a lot of time and effort into helping y'all build out that Avila brand. So shout out to her. Glad that went well for you guys. Definitely, we missed you in the office, but it was all for good things. So
Yeah.
Awesome, y'all. Well, hey, we have an amazing guest. Literally, I see him backstage right now. I think he's freaking selling a policy. And this guy, he has a crazy powerful testimony. And so we didn't share all of that in the bio, and I wanted to bring him on here. This is somebody, Ryan is somebody I've kind of viewed from afar back. I mean, years ago when him and Eric DeJohns first started doing just really videos. And that's kind of, we're going to talk a lot about kind of video marketing, but ultimately how to freaking crush it in sales, how to grow a team, and how to make freaking millions of dollars in the life insurance space. So with that being said, look, he's still going right now. We got Mr. Ryan Loede. Hey, were you selling a policy back there? What were you doing?
Oh, no. Just talking to my camera here, just talking to my live,
Right
I love
on.
it, dude. I love it. Well, thank you so much for hopping on. Tell who's Ryan Loede, man. Give us a 30,000 foot overview and then a weekly win for yourself.
Absolutely, brother. So yeah, literally came from, high school, jumped right into the insurance industry, was introduced to it by my cousin, and took me 7 times to pass my insurance test, but kept persisting, kept moving forward. And now I'm here, growing it. I got a 7-figure insurance agency and growing it to a 9-figure insurance agency here at LC Financial Group, where we're partnered and powered by, one of the fastest growing organizations, Innovative Financial Group. And
Come on.
we're growing, we're expanding, and, just loving life, continually helping people. LC stands for life changing. So we're looking to change people's lives here. So
that's all.
like
I
that.
actually didn't know that, man. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I really like that. What's a weekly win for you?
Weekly win, man. I've been here at the Ohio headquarters, and a lot of growth, a lot of new individuals coming into the headquarters, new potential partners and hires. And we've been revamping the Ohio headquarters, just making it nice, right? Because it was a little shaky. So got to put some money into the office. I see that, when I walk into an office that's nice, man, I feel more inspired, more motivated. So we want our people to feel the same way.
Absolutely, man. I
spot
agree
on.
with that.
Me and Tony were just talking about that backstage too. Our bank statements look a little different after this office as well. But I will say, dude, I think you're freaking spot on when it comes to when I walk into this office, man, and I see what it is and like just the work that we put into it. But it is a nicer office. It really does make me like kind of, it elevates me, right? It makes me want to keep going and keep pushing, but ultimately get more butts in the seats so that they can feel that same way, right?
Absolutely.
So I love that you said that. Well, take us back, Ryan. So obviously, I know we talked a little bit about it backstage. You have a crazy powerful testimony, right? And it requires some vulnerability to share some of this type of stuff, guys. But I think vulnerability is kind of part of what it takes to get to these levels, right? To success. Take us back. Who was Ryan Loede in high school? Who were you kind of, I saw you were doing BMX because you grew up doing BMX or something like that. I saw on your social the other day. Who was Ryan Loede before you got into insurance? And one of my favorite questions to ask is, what was your first job?
Yeah, man. So my first job was actually, I believe it. I mean, man, like actual official job was McDonald's. 14 years young, flipping burgers, scrubbing floors, mopping floors, scrubbing toilets, like doing that dirt work. And I actually loved it because, man, you feel better when you're working. You feel better when you're producing. So that was actually my first job there. Was McDonald's, and I loved it. Worked there from about 14 to 16. But my high school and where I came from is, a lot of people don't know this. I've been actually sharing it more openly lately as I've been sharing my story, as I've been, breaking out of obscurity, getting people to know me more. It's like, man, in high school, I was hanging around the wrong people. Like I grew up in a very strong foundational household with my parents. We went to church. I was a Christian. We went from Catholic to Christian. I was saved at the age of like 3 or actually grade 3, grade 4, around that time. I was saved, and I was headed in the right direction. But then, I started hanging around the wrong people. About 6th grade, I started hanging around the wrong people. Around 6th, 7th grade, I started smoking weed. And then next thing I know, my parents take me out of the public schooling system because they're like, wow, we need to tighten this up. We need to tighten this up. He's going off the rails, right? And they transferred me over to private schooling system at the school that the church that we were going to had.
Got it.
And I was there for about 2 years, and, things weren't getting better. They were actually getting worse. They were progressively getting worse. I started dealing drugs within that time period of being at that private school. I was still smoking weed on a daily basis. I was robbed between that time at gunpoint. And, then they transferred me back to the public schooling system because I'm like, man, like, hey, mom and dad, this ain't working. I have no friends here. Like, I don't jive with these people. They put me back in a public schooling system. And, it was good at first. 10th grade, I got back into the public schooling system. But, unfortunately, kept going down the wrong path, kept hanging around the wrong people. I was highly involved in the sports. I still love sports. I still love basketball, my favorite sport. And I was still, involved in that 10th grade year in basketball. I was absolutely fantastic. The year went great. 11th grade basketball, I actually quit the team because they were trying to put me on JV. I'm like, man, I'm not taking this because I missed like a practice because I was sick. I was literally sick. So I missed a practice. But then 12th grade year, I actually got kicked off the team because I left a game or whatever it might have been. I was on house arrest for most of my high school career. I was still dealing drugs, multiple run-ins with the police, F5 felony for drug trafficking, and almost went to juvenile prison in my 12th grade year. They were either putting me to juvenile prison or they were going to send me out to some like school in Pennsylvania that they send like people like me in high school. They send these negligent, teenagers to this school to really tighten their discipline and tighten the way that they're living, right? But thankfully, I guess I had a good lawyer and got past the juvenile prison or that school. And the way I look at it is that like everything that we go through really creates who we are going to be, right? It's as we all know, it's not what happens, it's how we respond. So everything that I've been through, I'm very thankful of, I'm very appreciative of, and I'm very grateful of, because I wouldn't be who I am, I wouldn't be where I'm at, and I wouldn't have grown as quickly if I didn't go through what I went through, right? The picture's already painted, right? The picture and everything that happens in our life is already like created, right? I believe in the creator above us, and I have a spiritual faith because I'm a spiritual being. So, like everything that happens for a reason. It's not just happening to us, it's happening for us, right? So that's a little bit about my background now. Been in insurance for the past 5 years.
5 years. You're 5 years?
Yeah, man.
Gosh,
yeah.
Dude, I swear everything I see of yours, I swear you've been in for like at least 10, man. And that's, and what was the light bulb moment though? Because I have a very similar where, hey, I was raised right, man, but I was the rebel child. And a lot of it was I surrounded myself with the wrong people. And anybody that's listening to this, it's bullshit. You are the company you keep, right? And a lot, well, I'll just go and like, I won't do that, right? Or I won't start acting like that. I won't become complacent. I won't start acting mediocre. If you hang out with a bunch of mediocre people, you're going to start becoming mediocre. I promise you that, right? What was the light bulb moment? So it's like, hey, I'm 18, right? I'm graduating high school. I finally overcame, right, those legal issues. What was the light bulb moment of like insurance? And obviously you're 5 years in, you're already a 7-figure earner. You've been a 7-figure earner. What was the light bulb moment and how did you kickstart so freaking fast?
So it's funny because even when I got into insurance, I was still dealing drugs. I was still trafficking. My cousin introduced me to insurance. He moved out to Charlotte with his buddy that they were getting into insurance with. And I'm like, man, I want to see my cousin. I've never been out of Cleveland, never traveled by myself. Drove to Charlotte, North Carolina. My first viewpoint of going there was like, man, I'm going to find a distributor here in Charlotte to get, a lower price and bring it back to Cleveland. But then they introduced me to insurance. I'm like, man, like, I want to do this. Like, I'm sick of this illegal activity. I'm sick of hanging around the wrong people. I'm sick of continually getting in trouble. I need to make a change, right? And my cousin played a huge influence on me. And that's where things really started to change. I'm like, man, like I've put so much stress on myself, on my parents, on my family. I'm like, man, I got to make a change. And then, what happened was I started doing my insurance pre-license test. And within about a year, 2 years, I found Grant Cardone, my mentor. And that really changed me a lot, but as I made the decision to get into insurance, and between the point of me actually starting insurance, I was still smoking weed on a daily basis. I was still doing the negligent activities. I was still kind of hanging around the wrong people. And, it wasn't till a point where I'm like, man, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And it doesn't have to get that way. I've talked about this before. It does not have to get that way where you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. Like, don't even get to that point. Like, but hey, for some people, it gets to that point, and it was that point for me. I was just, man, I was sitting in my basement where I lived at my parents' house in the basement, smoking weed one day. I'm like, man, I'm done with this. Like, I'm sick of this. And I made that snap decision. I'm like, man, I'm literally getting rid of this. I'm stopping this. And everything turned from there because I heard my mentor GC, he was talking about like it was a video. He was talking about smoking weed and like how it slows you down and how it literally does you no good. I'm like, man, like that's so true. Like this stuff has done me no good, really, right? And it's like, damn, I just made the change from there. So
if you guys have ever been to a conference and you see somebody wearing a 10X hat, I promise you that is Ryan Loede. That's the first time I met you. It was like I think it had to have been 8% Nation. That, and then I saw you again at 1%. I think you and Eric were both out at 1%. I think it might have been 1% in Phoenix with Cody Askins. Yeah. But yeah, if you guys see, so let's stay there then before we get into. Y'all, this guy is a freaking sales machine. And not only are you a sales machine, I think you do a really good job of giving that information out to other agents as well to help them become sales machines too, right? Before we get there, let's talk about mentorship, right? We talk about it a lot on this show. Obviously, Grant Cardone, I went through GCU University for years. I mean, you can see it still, sell or be sold, target 10 million, because he talks about setting too small of targets, right? Service and purpose. Every person I talk to is an investor. That dude, GCU actually was huge for me when I was going through those modules. And so let's kind of stay there. What has mentorship really, what does it mean to you and what has it done for you within your business? And really, guys, mentorship a lot of the time goes further than just business too. It typically impacts your life too, right? What has mentorship, what has Grant Cardone or anybody else that you've kind of brought into your circle done to change not only your life, but your business?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's played the biggest role. If I didn't find GC, if I didn't start listening to Grant Cardone, I wouldn't be where I'm at today in my life, and it's a big thing to say like, oh, wow, this one person really made a dramatic, change and impact in my life. But it's true. Like if I didn't find him, if I didn't start listening to him, because I couldn't even trust in myself. I needed to be able to trust in someone else.
That's
right?
good.
I needed to be able to trust in someone else. And he showed me the way, he gave me the information, the right data, and he helped me remove the bad data and the bad information, right? Because in order to make any changes, like first you got to strip away the bad information and the bad data first, and then you got to add the good, right? You can't just start adding the good on top of the bad. So mentorship it's been one of the biggest impacts in my life. I continually, seek out new information, new knowledge, because, hey, I believe the more we learn, the more we earn. And the more that you're continually learning more, the more that you're going to be continually able to grow, right? If you stop learning, you're going to stop growing. And you're either growing or you're dying. You're either expanding or you're contracting. So mentorship, having that mentor, having that strong, foundation of like, man, this is who I listen to. I know he's doing me well. Like it's been absolutely game changer.
What specifically was it that attracted you to GC? Just curious.
Honestly, I don't think there was a specific thing. It was just someone to listen to, right? I remember it was when I actually visited Charlotte to visit my cousin before I was in insurance, and we actually saw a video of GC. And like a month or so later, my cousin's buddy, he sent me a video of GC. I'm like, whoa, that's that guy. That's that guy that we listened to, a month or so ago when I was in Charlotte visiting you guys. And then next thing I know, I'm diving into his information. But before, I always forget about this, but before I actually started to heavily listen to and watch GC and, have him as my mentor, I was diving into like Earl Nightingale, Zig Ziglar, all those old school people like Jim Rohn, the OGs, right? Those are the people that really changed my mindset and my viewpoint and have me creating a positive mental attitude, because man, I was in the dirt, man. I was negative. I was like, dude, I always put responsibility in other people. I wasn't in full control of my life. I was blaming other people. I had that victim mentality growing up. So those are the people that really created that foundation. And then GC is the one who helped me, have the sales, experience and,
Right.
master sales and really just master all areas of my life. So,
Well,
Was there a specific lesson? It's like from Earl and some of those guys that kind of helped you switch that light bulb and go, you know what, I'm right, they're right.
yeah, I
Like,
mean,
was there
it
maybe
was just,
something that they said, some little nugget?
I honestly, it was probably just, the positive mental attitude. I always remember a lot of them talking about how your mindset and your viewpoint really
Mhm.
impact everything, right? How you think, how you talk to yourself really impacts everything,
yes.
because it all starts with the thoughts. Our thoughts
Hmm.
determine our words determine our actions, and our actions determine our results and the outcomes that we get. So if you want to change your results and your outcomes, you got to change the way you're thinking. You got to change the way you talk to yourself. You have negative self-talk, like your actions are going to be off. It's this concept of A cube that I've learned from GC. It's like A cube: action, approach, and activity. Oh, attitude, approach, and activity, right?
Got him.
So if your attitude is off, your approach is going to be off. If your approach is off, your action is going to be off. And that stems to your results and your outcomes.
Yep. And that's with mentorship, right? And you're probably, in my opinion, and I don't know if you're still doing it or not. I would assume you probably are, knowing you. With mentorship comes what? Hey, what, everybody? What does mentorship come with? Oh, look, there it is. Look, and with the water, right? Accountability. Mentorship comes with accountability, and it's not just other people holding you accountable, and that's almost the easy part, right? But it's also that self accountability where Ryan, dude, we're at a freaking event and 1%, we're all at the bar. Ryan shows up because he just freaking like ran 5 miles up a mountain and then went and bought groceries because of you. Hey, I'm focused on my diet, right? I don't care if I'm in freaking Phoenix or if I'm in Ohio or if I'm in Florida, wherever you're at. This guy comes back with ginger shots. He comes back with fruit. He comes back with water. Basically, everything. He's like, I'm not gonna. He's holding himself accountable, right? And in that situation, there is no mentor. There is nobody that's sitting in the office next door to you to hold you to that, right? Talk about the accountability piece and how important that is. Again, really in life, but also in business.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about this a lot. Like, you need to be so hard on yourself. You need to be extremely hard on yourself. Like, no one's going to hold you to such high standards as much as you personally can yourself,
Hmm.
right? We're the biggest obstacle to our success, right? So, holding myself accountable is absolutely crucial. And, for viewers that are watching, is like, to the degree that you hold yourself accountable is to the degree that you're going to be able to hold other individuals accountable. You're growing a team, you're growing an organization, an agency. If you're trying to hold other people accountable and you're not holding yourself accountable, it's not going to work. It's like self-inflicting, right? So, man, holding yourself to such high standards is absolutely crucial. Like,
Why the ginger shots? Why the water? Why that side of things?
yeah. So, I mean, dude, I'm just like a health freak, man. Like the past 5 years, man, I dove into this. I actually got introduced to the Kangen water, which is a $5,000 water machine. I've sold it to many other individuals that see high effects from it, but got introduced to that about like 5 years ago from my cousin's buddy who got me into insurance, who they got me into insurance. I drank it for like 2 weeks, and then I went back to Ohio and I started drinking regular water. I'm like, whoa, like, I can't do this. Like, so I
Actual
bought
difference.
one immediately. And
Right.
then the ginger shots, I mean, dude, they're just really good for you. Really good for you.
Are you
I
still
love,
doing ginger shots like every morning?
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Dude's a
Absolutely.
freaking machine, man. So let's shift, right? So obviously, guys, you can hear the energy, you can hear the testimony, right? And don't ever let anything in your past hold you back from what you're really supposed to become, right? I
Mm.
love that you said that the picture is already painted, my friends, right? So then what are we gonna do, right? And I love that. So let's shift to sales. Straight up, you're a freaking machine. Let's talk about maybe those first couple years that you're getting going. I know now that you have kind of pivoted it, guys. This is life insurance, specifically, but I know a lot of what Ryan preaches on and teaches on, it is just sales, right? It's Grant Cardone, y'all. If anybody's ever seen Grant Cardone, you can take Grant. I'm property and casualty, and me and Ryan have gone through the exact same thing with Cardone, right? So take us through that. What were the first 2 years? Talk about the grind, right? But then ultimately, let's talk about some numbers. I know you're a seven-figure earner, so feel free to brag and share some stats on that side of things. And we'll talk about what is needed to be successful in the sales side of things. And then once you figure that out, talking about, hey, this is how to now take that and give it to others, right, and build the team. So what were those first 2 years like for you?
Yeah, dude, those first 2 years were not the easiest, and they always talk about this in insurance. Like the first year, first 2 years is your toughest, and it doesn't need to be that way. It doesn't need to be that way. When you have the right leadership, the right guidance, and the right direction and platform and structure with your organization and with your agency, your first year should be your best year. Your first year you should be off to quick wins and quick momentum. For me, it was completely opposite. I did not have the correct leadership. I did not have the correct guidance and the structure and the platform with the agency and the organization that I was in. So my first year, man, like, dude, I was like, it was just very tough for me, and now, thinking of it, like I didn't make my first sale for like 2 months that I was actually in the insurance industry because I wasn't learning. I didn't learn as much as I possibly could about insurance. And I was at that point of like,
Right.
man, I can't keep going on. Like I only had enough money to pay for rent. I had no other money when I moved out to Charlotte, North Carolina. So I'm like, man, I can't keep moving forward with this lack of, ability and this lack of, mastery in the craft that I'm moving into, which was insurance, right? So I started to learn everything and anything I could about insurance. Next thing I know, I started getting results, right? It's like, hey, if you want to get more results, if you want to get greater outcomes, you just got to learn more. You got to duplicate the actions and the mindsets of the successful. So, first 2 years, I mean, it started off very bumpy, started off very, very bumpy, very rough. It does not have to be that for you. And that's what I'm very passionate about here with what we're growing here at LC Financial Group is, like I said earlier, it stands for life changing. I want
Right.
people to come in, get quick wins, quick momentum, see their life drastically change within the first year, within the first 2 years. Because hey, like having that bumpy road that I had, it's like, man, I want to help other insurance agents
Let me
with
help you not do that.
not do
Right.
that, right? I want to get you a smooth transition from where you're at to where you want to be, right?
Yep.
So, my first 2 years, I was in Charlotte, North Carolina for about like 8 months. I was getting like 20 leads a week, which, like, dude, how can you survive off of that? And then I'm like, man, I can't do this. I couldn't get any more leads. There was no more lead availability. I was doing final expense at first. And then, boom, I moved back to Cleveland, Ohio because I'm like, dude, I got no other option. And that's sometimes a good thing. When you have no choice and no option, it's sometimes a good thing. I learned this at 10X Growth Conference this past year is like no choice and no option means like, hey, you got to do it. Like there's no other option. So
There's no other. Yep.
yeah, I moved back to Cleveland, Ohio. I doubled my leads right from the beginning. At first, I was like, I'm going to go from 20 to 30. I'm like, nope, made a hard decision, made a quick decision, went from 20 to 40 leads. Next thing I know, I'm going from 40 to 60, 60 to 80, 80 to 100. And now I'm off to the races. Now I'm really creating income. I'm really creating revenue. I got an appointment setter. One of the best things that I've personally done, getting appointment setters is absolutely crucial. Got an appointment setter and literally like just eat, sleep, and breathe insurance for my first 2 to 3 years in the insurance industry. Mastered the craft, became a professional. I learned how to communicate, present, propose, close deals, follow up, really build a relationship, how to greet people, how to ask the right questions, how to get answers to those questions, and really just continue to expand my mastery in sales in general
Yep.
as well as insurance. And
So let's stay there though. Back up just a little bit there because you're talking about you dropped some freaking gold when it comes to actually how to be good at sales.
yeah,
What are maybe your top 2 to 3 things? We have a lot of new agents, we have a lot of established agents, and then we have a lot of kind of in-betweeners, we'll call them, right? Where we're probably 5, 10 years into this thing. Some people are like, dude, we just got freaking licensed last week. 2 to 3 things, right? When it comes to sales, and I don't care if it's life insurance or not, we have a ton of life insurance people in here. So if you want to keep it life specific, go for it. What are 2 to 3 things do you guys need to do this with every single appointment? Or hey, like an appointment setter, right? How that was game changing for your ability to sell more, right? We all know that. Talk about 2 to 3 things that were like, man, these things were pivotal for me in really starting to get that traction and getting that game going.
yeah. I'd say number one is just learning. Number one is just diving into information, learning from people who are doing what you want to do,
True.
learning from the highly successful individuals, and diving into it as much as you can. Like 100% absorb yourself in it. Drink the Kool-Aid is what they say, right? Just go all in with it. Go all in with it. I mean, That's literally what I did, and that's helped me create the success that I've created thus far, and especially early on in my career. Is like I literally took like 50 to 75 notes of final expense like training, and like, hey, I could have done more, I could have done way more. But like, if you're doing anything less than that, if you're like literally like, you got to treat this career opportunity in the insurance industry as like gold, because it is.
It
It's
is.
going to help you create financial freedom. It's going to help you create the success you desire, right?
Right.
So that's number one, is learning. Number two is definitely being coachable. And that's one of our core values that we have here at LC Financial Group, is coachable, right? Because the degree at which you're able to receive constructive criticism, you're able to receive guidance and direction and leadership from other individuals, is to the degree that you're actually going to move forward and actually create the results that you desire, right? Because if you're not coachable, and I came from sports background, right? And I still play sports heavily. And it's like, man, like if you're not coachable, like you're not going to get better. You got to
You're
be
cut.
open.
You're off the team.
Exactly. So number two has to be coachable. And number three, I'd say, is just like, just going all in. I'd say going all in, being 100%. Don't put one foot in, one foot out. I see a lot of insurance agents. I see a lot of people in sales in general. We want to generalize this, is that like they're like 50%. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's what amateurs do. That's what people, amateurs are. It's like a pastime. It's like something you do for fun.
Side
Like,
hustle.
you're right. Are you doing this for real? Are you making this a career, or are you just making it a job? Are
Right.
you looking at it in a long-term viewpoint of like, man, this is going to help me get to where I want to be. Now I got to think 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. You got to have that long-term think and that long-term view in order to really, get the results that you desire. So, number one is learning, not just learning at one point in time, but continually learning.
Continuing. Yep.
Always be learning. Learning is not something that we did, it's something that we do. Number two is coachability, being open to coaching and being willing to ask for help as well. That's a little side part of the coachability, is like always being willing to ask for help and to receive help. Because these highly successful individuals, some of them, they might be greedy, they might not want to share, might want to give back, but a lot of them are like very open, because they might have been through what you're currently going through, and they're like, man, I want to help this person. A lot of highly successful individuals, they want to give back, they want to support, and that's personally how I am. So you got to be willing to receive the help and also to give help. And then number three is the 100% commitment. Go all in, right?
And you said something so gold just a little bit ago, right? Y'all, before you go all in, and I've been here, done this, right? I come from the captive space, obviously now independent. Looking back, don't get me wrong, I appreciate it, right? I really like the upbringing was awesome. But man, if I had just done some due diligence before I went all in, right? But you said it's learn from those who are doing what you want to do or who have done it, right? There's so many, and we see this all within all of over social, really in general, is people preaching and they ain't ever done it, right? And that now apparently everybody and their brother's a freaking trainer or a coach or a speaker or something like that, right? And it's like, man, y'all ain't ever even done it. Do you even have a license? Like, what the hell is this, right? And so I love that you said that. But again, guys, like even when I'm recruiting and I tell agents, dude, do your due diligence. I should not be the only person you're talking to, right? Now, am I biased? Do I think I have an amazing opportunity for agencies? Yes, right? Like, I love to talk to you, but guys, like, find the best fit for you. And once you find the best fit for you, right? Like, we're not always going to be everybody's cup of tea. That's just how that works, right? But once you find your cup of tea, go freaking all in, learn from them, right? And then be coachable. And that's the other thing I love that you said. I talk about this a lot. Seek it out, right? There's like that middle ground where it's like, dude, I don't know you need help unless you ask me, right? I don't know if you need. Now, there's a part of the accountability piece and a leadership role to be trying to pick that out and to see that with your staff, right? Or with your sales team or whatever. But the other thing is, man, you got to meet me in the middle, dude. If you need something, man, and that also goes back to the relationship that you have with your people too. Do they feel comfortable to seek that out for me, right? Or are they just about to get freaking shit on because it's like you just come in hard, right? Heavy hitter, like, oh, are you kidding me, dude? You didn't make that sale, you suck, right? Like, go watch some videos and get better. Like, if that's how you're coaching, that's not the best way to do it. And so let's pivot to that, because dude, that was so gold. Go all in with the right people, right? But do your due diligence, guys. There's so much opportunity, and Tony talks about this all the time. Y'all, there is so much opportunity. What's the percentage in Medicare, even on the client side, Tony?
1,000 of 1% is all you need to make $2 million in Medicare of the entire market. You need 0.0001%. If you can
It's
pull
like,
that off, you or 0.001. If you can pull that off, you can make a $2 million annual renewal. On coachability, because this is one of the things that I still struggle with agents. I talk to a lot of agents, they've been in the business for 2 years, for example, right? And you're trying to coach them, right? You feel like and maybe it's a coaching issue, and you get that negative feedback from them, right? Or that resistance. They're like, well, no, I think it needs to be like this, or I want to do this. What are the things, like, why do people argue? Why do new agents still argue with veterans in the business that have done it? Why do they continue to push back on it? What is that?
I mean, that's a great question. I've seen it before, and man, it's like, here's what it really stems from. It stems from past experiences of them being coached by someone or receiving guidance or direction from someone, and it didn't go well. So what's happening is they're what we call the reactive mind. The reactive mind is triggering those past experiences that didn't go well. Now they're remembering them. Their mind is remembering them and bringing them up. So it's holding them back and creating a barrier from receiving future, coaching or guidance or present time coaching or guidance. So I think that's one of probably the key thing is that, like, they had a bad experience before, so that now they remember it. Now that moving forward, they're like, oh, I'm going to be a little blocked off from coaching
Right.
or guidance or leadership. It's like you're trying to sell a client and they had multiple bad experiences before.
Sure.
Why are they a little blocked off? Why do they have their guard up? It's because they dealt with a bad salesperson. They dealt with an unethical salesperson. They were sold something that they were told was completely different. So now when they deal with the salesperson, now they're like, oh, like their guard is up, right? So
Right.
that's probably,
so as a coach, how do you soften that guard? How do you get them to stop being reactive towards you, for example? How do you get them to maybe let go of that ego and listen?
I'd say, man, like, it really all stems from, like, your group as well. Like, you got to share with them, like, hey, like, I understand, I'm with you, and communication. You got to acknowledge them, right? You got to acknowledge them, like, hey, I understand, completely hear you. However, this is what I've taught X, Y, and Z over here, whether it's Johnny, Joe, Betty, whoever it might be. This is what I taught them. Here's the results that they're getting, and this is why I want to share it with you. Like, just give them a reason, and, like, either they're going to be open to it or they're not. And sooner or later they're going to open up to it, because they're going to see that you're helping all these other people in your organization, in your agency, and they're going to be like, wow, like, I'm not getting results. Like, I need to change. Sooner or later, they're going to be at that breaking point of, like, man, like, I'm sick and tired of not.
I don't want to be left behind. Right.
Yeah, they're going to be like, all right, I'm going to take the coaching now. Like, it seems like he has my best interests at heart. He has a good heart. He has good intentions. They're going to notice that. Like, at first, it might be like, oh, like, I'm not trusting this guy. I'm completely closed off. But as time goes on, either they're going to move one or two ways. One, they're going to move towards being more open and being more receptive, or two, they're just not going to be. They're going to continue to not be coachable. And, like, for me personally, like, it's hard to deal with individuals that aren't coachable, right? Because, like, man, like, I know I have a good heart, I have good intentions, so it's like difficult, but I continue to still work with it, and it really all, the best way to do it is through good communication. I've found that having good communication is absolutely crucial.
And I'll piggyback on that, Merwin, because that's a great question. I
Very
think part of it too is because of how plentiful our resources are now. Everybody and their brother every single day gets hit with that shiny object syndrome, right? Especially for new agents that are coming in. They come in trying to reinvent the wheel because they're seeing there's so much out there. They're like, well, why don't we? No, we need to do this. We need to do this. We need to do this. And they go against what's already working, right? I see that a lot. Of me and John Wetmore talk about this too. He goes, guys, like I say the same things because nothing's changed. It still freaking works. And the people that listen to me and do it because it works, right? They have all the testimony, all the statistics, all the numbers to back it up. They do the same thing, right? But then you go out and you try to change up the whole system and reinvent the wheel and go get this CRM and go get this and go get, but these leads, right? And it's like, y'all, we have the proven model, stick with it, right? But I think that is part of it. Any new agents here, man, stick to what works, right? And I know that we broadcast a lot. We spotlight a lot of vendors in here, even our preferred vendor list. If you guys haven't checked that out, go check it out. But we vet those people, right? But at the same time, it goes back to even choosing your, what we'll call an upline, right? But choosing your team, choosing your organization, do your due diligence, but ultimately find what works for you and stick with it, right? Now, not to say, hey, you get things up and running and every once in a while you want to sprinkle in a little shiny object, cool, right? But I think a lot of people come into these proven models and they try and change the game, right? And it's like, why? Are you not seeing what Ryan's doing? He's got a freaking 500 other people doing it and it's working, man. But then you got that one person that comes in. I'm 100% with that. I'll say recently I've gotten better at hiring when it comes to my in-house team and my sales team. But in the past, dude, gosh, I would bring people in and it's like, dude, everything I'd say, dude, was combative. It was like, no, they'd always have a response to everything. And I'm like, dude, you've had your insurance license for 2 weeks. How the hell are you coming? Like, how can you talk like that to me? Like, I've been doing this. I know I look like I'm a baby, but I'm in this thing almost 10 years, dude. What are we talking about? But it does go back to, at the end of the day, man, communication. But I love that you said about the acknowledgement piece too. They need to felt heard in order to bring down some of those barriers, right? That's so good. Well, I want to take the kind of the last bit of the show here because I know you. So what was the pivotal moment? Everybody knows I love the word pivot, right? What was the pivotal moment where it was like, all right, I've mastered the craft in sales, right? And guys, right? Like, what's your best year in sales? I know it was a lot, but what was it?
Yeah, it was during COVID 2020 when COVID first broke out. It was, between 6 to 7 months, I wrote 700,000 in final expense premium.
Not bad, right? Yeah. So, and that's in the middle of a freaking pandemic. Gosh, right? Yeah. Imagine you hit that outside of the pandemic, you'd be well over $1 million easy. So let's talk about, okay, so I've mastered the craft, right? I'm making good freaking money on the sales side of things. What was it that, you know what, dude, I want to give this back, right? I want to go into team building, because when you go into team building, and we've actually had this conversation, Ryan, is, dude, it takes away from your money-making activities that you're used to doing because of the time investment it takes to actually truly build a team. What was it, right? What was that moment? And then what were really the key things that you've done to kick that off and then to continue to grow that team, but also to grow a team of winners, right? Not just anybody can freaking get people to take a licensing test or onboard, whatever, but your people are actually writing business too. What was that moment? And then how have you done it?
So for me personally, it was just like, it got to a point where I'm like, man, like, I know what I'm doing. I've mastered my craft. Now I want to share it with other people. And it took longer than it should have. It really took longer than it should have. Like for me, like if I had the expertise and the knowledge and the correct leadership and guidance, like I should have started growing my first 2-3 years in the insurance industry. I didn't start growing until like 3, 4, even close to 5 years. Like really now I'm really like focused on working on the business. I started growing by accident, maybe like a year and a half ago. People reaching out to me on social media. I'm like, okay, cool. Like we can partner together. Right. And, something that's helped me a lot as far as growth goes is like being prominent and promoting what you're doing, who you are, what you're building, what you're growing, what you have to offer. And like all of my recruits so far, and it's crazy to say, all the partners within LC Financial Group have came organically. Everyone has been from social media. We have not done any like marketing as far as like Indeed ads or Facebook ads. We haven't done any of that. So, it's going to get to a point where we're going to have to do that. But, those are the best recruits, in my opinion, people that are seeing you on social media. They're reaching out to you. Why are they reaching out to you? Because they believe in what you believe. They believe
it's like an inbound sale or inbound call, right?
Yeah,
Same concept. It always closes the best.
Exactly. So it was just a point of like, man, like I can only do so much myself, and I'm gonna, there's no use in not growing a team. Like I want to share this opportunity with other people. It was just a clicking point of like, man, I want to give back. I want to support. I have
Yep.
great leadership. I have great ability to lead people in the right direction. And I just started doing it. So, been growing for about a year and a half. Not really like I said, no like Facebook ads, Indeed ads, all social media, all organic. And that's something I highly recommend for individuals. What's really helped me get great people is like number one, like we have these systems and structures in place here at LC Financial Group that, you know, a lot of people that are 50%, a lot of people that don't go all in, a lot of people that want to just put one foot in, one foot out, like it's going to wash them out really quick because we have these structures and systems in place where like
Right.
it's not only built for like high achievers and high performers, but it almost is because
It
like
kind of is.
yeah,
Right.
it kind of is, right? So there's things that we have in place that are going to weed people out. Like we're open to anyone that reaches out. We're like, great, well, like let's see if this is a good fit, right? And if they want to move forward, perfectly fine. Like either they're going to continue to move forward with the processes and the systems that we have in place, or they're eventually just going to be like, wow, this is too much. And like, hey, perfectly fine because not everyone is a good fit.
Right.
Everyone's a good fit to join, but not everyone is a good fit to actually continue on with the journey of moving forward with our organization. Because
It's
we
good.
have that culture, we have the community of like people that hold each other accountable, people that push each other to greater lengths and greater levels that they've never been pushed to. And that's what I'm really passionate about is because man, like I love pushing people. I love holding people accountable because I push myself to higher lengths and higher levels, and I hold myself accountable to high
It's good.
standards so I can do that with other people. And I want to really tap into individuals' greatness because man, they've never been in an organization that pushes them as much as like they might
What's
see.
what's one of those things that weeds them out? What's one of the things in your process and structure is like, yo, you got to come in and for this amount of days, you got to do, is it like, hey, you got to do this many freaking dials, right? Or something like that. What is it that
So
is
yeah,
built in that?
it's not necessarily like that.
Jeff?
We have very succinct like tracking procedures of like you got to track your numbers, you got to submit your numbers on a shared Google spreadsheet that is shared with everyone within the organization, full transparency. You got to submit those numbers every single week. You have to disposition your leads, you have to add your leads to an enrollment tracking sheet, like just like it's
Hmm.
little stuff really in
Right.
my opinion. It's little stuff, but a lot of people that aren't fully committed, as I was saying earlier, a lot of people that want to dwindle around into this career that's they're operating as a normal job and not a career. But a lot of people that are just like not really all in, it's a lot to them because
Yep.
they've never been in a culture or a community that really like holds them accountable, right? And really has this organization and has the correct structure and foundation. So it's little things like that like it's the littlest things that could weed out the people that
Hmm.
could be cancers to your organizations, people that could be suppressive to other individuals in your organization. So,
Right.
it's just
And it's the little things, it's the little things that add up. And I think the little things are with where leaders typically will overlook. Ah, they missed it last week. Okay, it's fine. Hey, just make sure and do it this week, right? And I think that is what ultimately will, over a period of time, breed the mediocrity, right? Is like, well, it's fine, right? It's like, well, no, you have it in place because you have it in place. That's why you told them to do it in the first place, right? So as soon as you start to let that little thing, guess what, y'all? All the little things add up. They become very substantial, right? And there's a reason you have them in place. So stick with your process,
Yep.
stick with those procedures, right? Why? Because it's proven. It's proven and it works. That's why they're in place, right? I love that you said that. And I want to go back to real quick before we wrap up. Um, you're talking about organic social media, right? That's my bread and butter too. Every single one of the people that work for me and or with us or whatever in the organization too, all organic social media, right? And it's like they're reaching out, they're filling out my form. We're now again, you're going through that vetting process to make sure everybody's on the same page. It's a good fit. and then, okay, let's talk some shop, right? But you said something really good, because I think a lot of these people would not have reached out to you. They wouldn't believe in you or believe that you believe in yourself. Ed Milet talks about that a lot, right? They got to believe that you believe, right? Not that whatever you're selling, but it's video. I think you and Eric are probably, dude, I see y'all. And again, we haven't like really truly connected or hung out like a bunch. We see each other at events, right? We're obviously connected on social, but I see y'all freaking everywhere, right? Especially you. And you're always, now, guys, that doesn't work with a stock image photo with a good description, right? Now, not to say it works, right?
Mhm.
But the video, talk a little bit about the power behind video and why you do it as much as you do. Now, I know why, and you kind of shared some of it. Break that down a little bit further, especially for people who aren't doing it. You need to be doing video, guys, on social media, right? And I don't care if you have just a phone. I mean, shoot, half your videos are probably from your phone, or I'm running on the beach, or whatever that is. Talk about the power of that and why you do it.
Yeah, so video is absolutely key. You know, I remember when I first started doing videos, it was the daily tip from the whip. Like,
Yes, the
where
tip from the whip. I forgot, dude. I used to literally tune in on those things too, man. Gosh, that's awesome.
it was about like 4 years ago. And, you know, the reason I started doing it is because, you know, I wanted to give back. I wanted to provide value. And that's the biggest thing, is that, especially with video, like it takes a lot of effort and energy that a lot of people don't understand or don't think. But like doing 20-minute videos, 10-minute, even if it's a 5-minute video, like you can't just ramble on a bunch of stuff. Like it has to be good value that you're actually giving back. So the thing is that like you're continually, when you're doing video and when you're providing value and like, you know, just giving away information for free, you're continually making little deposits into the universe, into the marketplace. And people see, number one, that you're not going away. People see that, number two, you're continually just giving and giving. You're providing. You want other people to win without receiving anything back. And that's like, a lot of people resonate with that. They're like, wow, like this dude just doesn't stop. He's continually providing value and he's not asking for anything in return. Like people are attracted to that from my belief, right? So,
Right.
you know, video is absolutely key. I definitely, as you've been seeing, as a lot of people have been seeing, like I've been ramping it up a lot more lately, doing a lot longer videos and just, you know, really honing into my message and what I'm providing, how I'm providing it. And, you know, it's helped me in ways that I've never thought it could. So you never know like what a video that you produce or shoot could do for another individual.
Right.
Right. And
Even if it's just one.
yeah, that's the main thing, is like that video could change someone else's life. And that's the way I view it, is like these videos that I'm shooting, the concept that I'm putting out, like I don't know if it's helping anyone, but you know, I have that belief and faith that it is, and that it's really like, you know, helping an individual become better, become a better version of themselves, learn more, become a master in sales, whatever it might be. Like I have that belief and faith. So that's what keeps me pushing forward. Even when
Love
I
it.
think like, oh man, I only got like 2 likes on this video. I only
My
got like
mom and my grandma were the only ones that liked it.
right.
Right.
So I'm like, oh man, like, is this even working? I'm like, that's the last thing that you want to think. Like, as long as you
Good.
keep promoting, as long as you keep pushing out, as long as you keep putting out value and keep making these little deposits, like it's going to work out. So, you know, just put in the time, put in the effort, and master your craft, right? You know, I was speaking about this, you know, before we jumped on, is like our biggest problem is obscurity. People don't know you, or hey, maybe people know you, but they aren't thinking about you. So you have to
Ooh.
break out of obscurity and continue to promote and continue to just give back. And people love
Right.
it. People are
And
attracted.
video's real. Video real. It's not, anybody can type, right? And that's, I think some people can be wordsmiths, right? But then it's like that video is, we talked about vulnerability. That's, man, you become vulnerable, right? Especially if you're doing it live, right? And I'll leave people with this on the video piece, is that a lot of us don't get started because we don't have lights. We don't have this. We don't use StreamYard, whatever it is, right? I tell you right now, some content is better than none, right? So I don't care if you're doing it from your phone. I don't care where it is. Just get it out there. Do it. If maybe don't start live, right? Maybe that's a little nerve wracking for you. Hey, then just pre-record. right? And then it's okay. Luke Akery was talking about this on our Monday mindset call, is that he literally is in marketing, having a typo, right, or maybe mispronouncing something actually will encourage people to reach out, and it actually sparks a conversation. It's like, yo, you got a typo in that. Oh, hey, thanks, man. How you doing? What have you been up to, right? And it's like, it actually works. So don't overthink it, y'all. Get out there and do it. I promise you it works. That's why we do 6 live shows in here a week, because we believe in the power of video. But ultimately, it goes back to what Ryan was saying, is if you got to have that good intention and value backing the video, right? So just come up with that, right? Again, any content is better than freaking none. So, dude, Ryan, thank you so much, man, for hopping on. This was great.
What's next on your what's next? Because you opened the call and said, hey, we're a 7-figure agency, we're going straight to 9, completely skip past 8. What's next on the LC financial radar?
I mean, what's next is just continual growth, continually just finding new people and giving this opportunity to a lot of great people and people that want to change their lives, and most importantly, not just change their life, but also change other individuals' lives. Right? Those are some of the people I love the most. They're not just focused on themselves. Like, hey, you got to focus on yourself first before you help anyone else. But we want individuals that want to help other individuals as well and really just give back. So, just continual growth, continual just refining processes and systems. Very thankful for the partnership that we have with Innovative Financial Group. A lot of great backing, a lot of great resources. The technology is there, and wow, we wouldn't be where we're at without Innovative Financial Group. So very thankful for that.
I'm doing that for Murray, because Murray always says, "Dagger, it isn't live." that one's for Matt Murray.
So just continual growth. Continue to repeat the successful actions, helping our partners within our organization open up their own branch. We want branches all around the world, just like a McDonald's, just like banks. Like, dude, they have locations everywhere. So really just spreading into the universe and into all 50 states, like having a branch in all 50 states, multiple branches in the state. So that's the big thing there.
How can people reach out to you? How can people find you? How can they contact you if they want to talk some shop? Again, guys, we're not openly recruiting or anything on here, but hey, if you like what he's saying, that's kind of the point of the video, right? If you want to reach out to Ryan, how can they do that? How can they find you?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So Facebook, obviously, Ryan Loede, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. Just got on Twitter recently. And then also, if you're looking for a new career opportunity, you can email careers. That's with an S at the end at Team LCFG, LC Financial Group. Or hey, if you want to email me personally, just email me at ryan@ryanloede.com.
Awesome. And we'll drop some of that stuff, guys, in the comments for you as well. If you're catching this on a replay, don't hesitate to ask any other questions in the comments. I know we always come back and circle back around. Again, Ryan, thank you so much, man, for hopping on. Y'all, Tony, take us out, man, because I could keep going, dude. I really could, because I love everything you're saying.
We'll bring them back again, man.
Right.
Thank you again for coming out. This has been fantastic, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We're here every Wednesday, 9 a.m. live all the time, but it always gets pushed out if you missed it. It's in the feature tab of the group. It's going out to YouTube, Spotify, Apple. Listen in, be sure and subscribe, and we'll see y'all next Wednesday. Thanks again.
Hey, it's the peak of the week, right? Don't slow down now. It's the peak of the week. Time to freaking put the floor or the pedal to the freaking metal, right? And go out and learn something, right? I always like taking little tidbits. Go out and learn something, right? Be coachable, right? And go freaking all in. I love you guys. Thank you, Ryan, again. Appreciate y'all. Everybody have an amazing Wednesday. Later.
Sure.